with HIV and get to and stay undetectable, which means the amount of the virus is so low it can't be measured by lab tests. If you're living with HIV and not on treatment, talk to your doctor about treatment options. Learn more at treathivtoday.com. This message was sponsored by Gilead Sciences. Because it stinks. Tell me why. I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out. No, you tell me why. Wow, it worked, guys.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Chills or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations like 24/7 Time. If you really don't know how it works, back me up there. When you need to laugh, just open the free iHeartRadio app and search Time.
That's his face.
Free never says. Follow us now at KFI864.
This is the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show. I'd like to welcome my TikTok audience. If you would like to come into our studio and see what we're doing here, just log on to TikTok. My account is at Dr. Wendy Walsh. That's at Dr. Wendy Walsh. Just want to let everybody know, after I talk about this segment about why love relationships should not be transactional, I am going to be taking your calls live. So if you have a relationship question, you are welcome to call in. The number is 1-800-520-1534. So after this, 1-800-520-1534. Now, as I mentioned before the break, transactional relationships do get a bad name, and they have no place in love relationships, but they're fine sometimes in business and politics and sort of like social friends. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, etc. However, although I mentioned that our love relationships are an exchange of care, and that care can take so many forms: financial, sexual, child care, instrumental care, domestic responsibility care, etc. All kinds of different care. It should never be 50-50. I saw an interesting different from being in a relationship that's completely abusive, where you have no boundaries, you have no voice, you can't stand up for yourself, you can't say no, and you're doing 90% of the labor, and you're absolutely depleted and you're exhausted. I've been in those kind of relationships too, especially with little kids, right? By the way, I saw this very interesting video where there's this trend on social media right now about being a trad wife, a traditional wife, or a live-in girlfriend, or stay-at-home girlfriend. Like somehow young women are bragging that this is worth it. This is the worst job security that exists in our culture today. I want to say that right now. Don't right now in 2024 think your dream is to be a trad wife, because the laws are not protecting you. The lawyers, if you try to go to divorce court, will make the most money out of anybody. There's no job security in this. So I saw this divorce attorney online saying that he had this great idea. If you do want to be a trad wife, or one partner, whatever your gender, wants to stay home and take care of children, which is very valuable and important work, set up a separate bank account in that person's name who's doing the work, and every week get a paycheck that's only in your name. A paycheck, because that's the only way you're ever going to get paid. But anyway, don't think of 50-50. But if you're in a 90-10 relationship, ask yourself, why are you there? Why are you there? All right, when we come back, I will be taking your relationship calls. Remember, I'm a psychology professor, not a therapist, but I have a lot of life experience and some wisdom. I've written 3 books on relationships. I did my dissertation on attachment theory, and I would love to weigh in into the science of love. Pick up the phone. Producer Kate is going to answer right now. The number is 1-800-520-1534. That's 1-800-520-1534. You are listening to the Dr. Money Walsh Show on KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Right now, let's go to the 24-hour KFI newsroom and Heather Brooker.
More stimulating talk. No longer covered. KFI.
KST HD2.
Los Angeles County.
Live from everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Change is coming. I'm Heather Brooker, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Hollywood Boulevard, as you know it, is going away.
Changes are coming to the iconic street, including protected bike lanes, wider sidewalks, and dedicated bus lanes.
This project is about making Hollywood safer, transforming how residents, workers, and visitors use this iconic street.
LA City Councilman Hugo Soto Martinez says more than 3.5 miles of changes will cost around $8 billion, with Metro footing most of the bill. Construction is set to begin in the fall on Hollywood Boulevard. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
UC Riverside has denied that Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter attended the school like he claimed he did in his resume. The university says there are no records of Ipe Mizura in its database, despite his bio saying he graduated in 2007. This is just one of the questions raised about his credentials, since he was accused of stealing millions from Ohtani for illegal bets. The MLB has opened a formal investigation. March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and one researcher in Silicon Valley is working on new blood tests to detect the cancer. Dr. Craig Eagle says it was more than 80% successful in clinical trials.
Measures the DNA that's generated from cancer, and if they have that broken DNA, then that raises the flag and they need to some sort of follow-on to confirm that.
More than 50,000 Americans are expected to die of colon cancer this year. Eagle says dietary habits may be driving the rising rates.
High-fatty diets, high sugar-based diets, exercise.
Eagle's blood test still needs to be approved by the FDA. More than 133 people have been killed and even more hurt in the terrorist attack at a concert hall in Moscow. Many witnesses say they feared for their lives Friday night. This woman, who works at an aquarium in the same entertainment complex, says she felt the explosion.
We ran out of union while fire accident came to essential energies. We saw fire in the purpose of the room where we went near one of the units. We saw a lot of dead bodies inside.
Russia's federal security says they've captured 4 men thought to be responsible and members of ISIS. show their support for Palestinians. Many of them are of the Ireland.
It's the aroma of lavender and candle back from the home by rainforest. Enlightenment, here I come.
Free birthday delivery on backpacks and millions of other items. Whatever you're into, it's on Prime. Cold and cough season is here. Introducing Ricola Max Throat Care, Ricola's most powerful drop yet. It's the best of Swiss nature wrapped around a powerful liquid menthol center for maximum relief from your worst cough and sore throat. Maximum nature for maximum relief. Try Ricola Max now, available in the cold and cough aisle. It's in our nature.
To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth. iHeartRadio Earth is here with a new way to enjoy our beautiful planet. Reduce your impact on the environment this fall by packing waste-free lunch for school or work. Avoid foods with excessive packaging. Use reusable cutlery, napkins, cups, bags, and containers, and recycle or compost any waste when possible. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth. Southland weather from Campine, partly cloudy with a slight chance of rain throughout the evening in Metro LA and OC. Lows will be in the mid-40s tonight. Highs will be in the upper 60s on Monday. Lows will be in the upper 40s at the beaches, and they will reach the upper 30s in Riverside and the IE, and in the low 30s in the Antelope Valley. Right now it's 57 in Northridge, 60 in San Dimas, 53 in Rancho Santa Margarita, and 59 in Westminster. We lead local, live from the Campfire 24-hour newsroom. I'm Heather Brooker.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and fun. Yes, free, never something so good. KFI, 640.
KFI, AM 640. You've got Dr. Wendy Walsh with you. This is the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show. Now I'd like to welcome my Instagram audience. Hi, everybody. If you'd like to come into the studio here at iHeartRadio, just log on to my Instagram. The handle is at Dr. Wendy Walsh. All right, so a reminder, I'm a psychology professor, not a therapist, but I'm obsessed with the science of love, and I did a dissertation on attachment theory, and I've written 3 books on relationships. So, hey, I've got a lot of life experience. Let me weigh in on your love life. Okay, producer Kayla, who do we have on the line?
We have Mike with a question.
Mike. Hi, Mike. It's Dr. Wendy.
Dr. Wendy, this is Mike from Riverside, California.
Hi, Mike from Riverside. What's your question?
Well, and I don't want to argue with you, I just want to, sometimes when I listen to you on the radio, it seems like you think marriage should have an expiration date on it when you get married. I was married for 40 years.
Congratulations.
And, anniversary of her passing. But I just think you're wrong sometimes when you just say, well, you know, it doesn't take that long before, so it's just natural to have 2 or 3 marriages. And I
Well, I think
don't agree with that.
well, what I think is that my language is many people may find themselves having 2 or 3 long stints of monogamy or marriage because of their long life expectations. You are one of the lucky people who naturally have secure attachment style and was able to stay married for 42 years. But for those who weren't able to, I don't want them to feel shame. I don't like them to hear the term failed marriage as if they're a failure and you Mike, are successful. You're successful because you had good, loving parents who loved you, and you learned to accept love, and you learned to relationship for 42 years, but not everybody has those tools that you had. And I don't want them walking around with shame that they're trying over and over again to figure it out. So thank you for letting me clarify that, Mike. I'm sorry, it sounds like you lost your spouse, and it sounds like it was just a joyful few decades. Thank you for calling. All right, who do we have next?
I'm sorry to pronounce this, I apologize, but we have Yara with a question.
Yara, did I say that right? Is it Yara?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Dr. Wendy.
Hi. Well, I'm just calling to ask for a little advice. I met a wonderful man who wanted to see me every day. We saw each other for 4 days in a row. On Friday, he was super nice. On Friday, he was tired, so I went out with a dinner with a friend. Saturday, I just never thought that he was to go out, and I did not talk to him the rest of Saturday. She did text me and call me, but I was not available.
So what's the question? I'm hearing the host. So you met a guy a week ago. You saw him 4 days in a row. You took one night off. Then you saw him for brunch. So what's the question?
She wants to see me, but she cannot make plans. So I say, text me or call me whenever you can make plans.
Yeah, that's fine. That's setting up a boundary. I also think, Yara, that seeing a new person 4 days in a row is a little too much too soon. All right? So slow down that. And you're doing it. It sounds like you're doing it the right way by saying, hey, dude, I can't just like, it sounds like he's calling you, but hey, you want to get together this afternoon? You want to get together tonight? No, you can say, I'm sorry. I have plans. Let me know what night you're available. We can book it for next week. And that's cool. I think you're doing the right thing. So slow that boat down. I don't want to see too much too fast for you. Thanks for calling, Yara. Okay, producer Caleb, who do we have next?
We have Mary with a question.
Mary. Hi, Mary. It's Dr. Wendy.
Hi, Dr. Wendy. This is Mary from Arizona.
I'm Mary from Arizona. What's your question?
My question is, I broke up with my boyfriend for 8 months ago, and we have no contact. A year ago, I'm 35, 53, and we are both highly educated. So we have no contact. That's fine, but I'm still working on making videos. He reached me out a few days ago for just briefly for control. And then we had after 2 nights, we had a conversation. And I asked him, let's meet because the baby broke up. So after 1 year relationship, we both just text and voice on WhatsApp. So we didn't have closure for myself. So now we gotta meet each other so the next couple of days. And I really don't know.
Why did you break up? So you dated him for a year. 8 months ago, you broke up. He now reaches out to you. You didn't contact, nobody had any contact for 8 months. He reaches out to you to wish you happy Persian New Year. And now you're going to meet to have closure. But you did just tell me that you're still in love with him. So is this really about closure or rekindling for you? Why'd you break up? Why'd you break up?
Because the reason where I actually appreciated it because of the demonstration of physically.
You did the girl thing. A lot of women try to break up with a guy to bring him closer.
Yes, exactly.
And you laid down the gauntlet and he went away. All right, so here's the advice I want to give you. First of all, what's your question? Should you try to rekindle this? Why don't you start by telling him the truth? Why don't you say to him, Mary, I have to share something with you. I was feeling frustrated, and I actually broke up with you to try to bring you closer, and then I realized how much I missed you. Just tell him the truth. See what happens. Novel thing, the truth. Thanks for calling, Mary. All right, who do we have next?
We have Mel with a question.
Mel. Hi, Mel. It's Dr. Wendy.
Hey, good, Dr. Wendy.
Good.
Los Angeles.
Hi, Mel from Los Angeles. What's your question? You sound like you're on a Los Angeles freeway.
I am on the 210.
On the 210. Okay. What's your question?
All right. So, pretty much, I recently, not recently, maybe about 3 years ago, I broke up with somebody. I met
infighting right now. That's cool. Why would we do that? That's
Okay, so
crazy.
wait, so that I can get this clear. Wait, I want to make sure I understand this now. So you're married,
By the way,
you've got
I'm trying to
kids,
help
you had an
people out.
affair, you broke up with this girl, and now she's threatening to send harm to your wife and blow up your marriage.
Just reach out to me or you have to tell me.
Okay.
I was at like the
She did it.
format. I was in the format. I swear to God, I feel like I sing my Jesus Christ, I keep writing down time because I'm like, my feelings are easy to show. Jesus. There's a guy who's like, why? It's like, you must be forward into this page. Where's that page? To write that you must be to buy this page.
So what's your question? Okay, no, I hope you didn't respond. No, I hope you didn't respond. Okay, here's what you need to do. Listen to me. I know people. She is trying to get you again. So now you need to tell her, come clean, and even send the email to your fiance so you can, because you're earning trust back with the mother of your children. You're planning a wedding together. And here's this girl from 3 years ago who cheated on you, by mistake, you had an affair with, and then she tried to blow up this relationship. No. This bad girl is out of your life. So do not respond to her. Send an email to your fiance and say, I just want to be completely open. I just want to reach out to you. What do you want me to do? Let her help you make all of those decisions. You are a team. You're a knife front. You and her. Keep that crazy girl away. But really, she's not being nice at this point. You know, she lost 3 years ago. Had an affair. Now, she's gone. You're working on things with the mother of your children. This is about your kids right now. Make that one work. Good time for one more game. The last one. Mario. Hi, Mario. It's time to end you.
Why did Creek get such a bad rap?
Are you there? What's your question, love?
What's the fucking name?
You have blind date on Friday. How exciting.
Shit, my head is scratching. Just not like fucking up. What's the fucking name?
Let me just tell you, Mario, first of all, congratulations on the blind date on Friday night. Dates are to a first date. Two people pretending to be the person they wish they were. They're acting out performances. Now, here's the thing. You're going to talk about, movies that you like and restaurants that you're like. You're going to keep it really light. And then when you start to get into something that might be a little bit sensitive, like maybe you have shame about something, maybe you have 4 horses, whatever, it's okay to say, hey, I hope to get to know you well enough to share that. We're just meeting each other now, and so I'm not ready to share that. That's perfectly okay. It's showing that you have boundaries. But talk about everything if you want, love and life or whatever. But feel free to put up a boundary in a loving way. Like, hey, I'd love to get to know you well enough to be able to share that topic, but I'm not ready right now. But have fun. Just keep it light. Have fun. First date. All right, when we come back, let's dive into my DMs because so many people have been sending me messages on social media. You are listening to the Rabbi Rothschild Show on K5 and subscribing live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Right now, let's go to Heather Bricker in the 24-hour K5 newsroom.
Authorities are investigating the death of a man who was shot before crashing his vehicle into a building in the Fashion District in downtown LA. Dodger star Shohei Ohtani will publicly address theft and gambling allegations against his former interpreter for the first time tomorrow. And El Camino Real Charter High School in Woodland Hills has won the California Academic Decathlon for the third time in 5 years. They will represent the state in next month's national competition in Pittsburgh. We're going to check on the 101 when we come back.
Vince alerts on apartments.com. Never miss out on finding your perfect place, even if it's in the middle of your friend's pregnancy announcement.
So we have a pretty big announcement.
Let's sit together.
We're having a baby.
Shut up! A two-bedroom dream. No, baby. We're both expecting. Because I'm expecting you to play the system. Great job, everybody. Hardwoods.com, the place to find a place. College hoops fans, it's tournament time. The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here. And you can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. New customers bet on any college basketball national tournament game and turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets. That's right. To celebrate college basketball's most frenzied time of the year, DraftKings is giving new customers a shot to rack up some bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code IHEART. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only with DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code IHEART. That's promo code IHEART. The crown is yours. Must be 21 or older. Indiana only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball.
Tanya here, and there are many ways that we can all help raise awareness around HIV, but maybe the most important is just talking about it openly and honestly. There's no cure for HIV, but there are effective treatments that, taken as prescribed, can help you live healthy with HIV and get to and stay undetectable, which means the amount of the virus is so low it can't be measured by lab tests. If you're living with HIV and not with treatment, talk to your doctor about treatment options. Learn more at treathivtoday.com. This message was sponsored by Gilead Sciences.
No matter what the day brings, count on Juicy Juice for the good stuff. Get these nutrients and real 100% fruit juice to help every coffee of the day. Juicy Juice is only sweetened by the fruit with no sugar added, no high fructose corn syrup, and no artificial sweeteners. Available in family-sized bottles and boxes. Find Juicy Juice at your favorite local grocery retailer. Info at juicyjuice.com.
This sun season, evolve your sun care with new Banana Boat 365 with advanced structural mist. It's a new way to spray. An all-new bottle means an all-new mist experience. It smells great and is incredibly light on your skin. Control the coverage you can have. Temperature lightly to cover targeted areas or hold for long, continuous spray. Ensuring long-lasting Banana Boat protection. Intercooler, more resistant sport formula to kids SPF 50+. Shop Banana Boat 360 Mist at Walmart, Target, or Amazon.
This is a radio ad for the next prescription medicine for up to 6 months ago. Moderate to severe eczema, not well controlled with topical prescription therapy. But since this is radio, you can't see the effects of eczema. You can't see how it helps you stay ahead of your eczema, or how it helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that could be causing eczema. You can't see how it helps you your skin from bleeding. You can't see how your eczema can help you have clearer skin and less itch. Individual results will be serious allergic reactions can occur in the skin. Get help right away if you have wheezing, trouble breathing, or swelling of your face, lips, mouth, tongue, or throat. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain, vision changes, or blurred vision, joint aches and pains, or parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicine without talking to your doctor. Say it yourself. Ask your eczema specialist about Guinness. Visit Guinness.com or call 1-844-DIXON. The children of our nation need to learn on that level. But the Tunnelton Towers 9/11 Institute is right in this realm where I help with teachers educate kids in kindergarten and 12th grade. Non-fiction first-person accounts are told through videos of the Discovering Heroes book series. These two tales of our heroes, a speaker game, a mobile exhibit that's in the American Museum, 9/11 artifacts. I also have silver memorial scholarships for kids and program recipients. Pay only $11 a month. That's how I understand it. There's the word of God, the word of God. It's not that I'm trying to like fucking like thank you.
Sales waiting for you to explore right now. Wait 24/7. Just for today's top comedians and the greatest of all time. Laugh. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search comedy. iHeartRadio. So you never sounded so good.
You'll learn more before breakfast than most people learn all day. Wake up with me, live 5 to 6 a.m. on KFR and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Should not stay on, should I come back? Should not stay on, should I come back?
To the Dr. Walsh Show. Hey, my 641 the iHeartRadio. I wanted to give social media people a chance because you guys send me those private DMs all week on my social. If you would like to send me a question on my social media, you certainly may. The handle is at Dr. Wendy Walsh, Dr. Wendy Walsh. And reminder, I'm a psychology professor. Well, not a therapist, but I'm obsessed with the science of love. And I've been through quite a rocky with highs and lows, learned the hard way kind of love life. So I've got lots of this to share. All right, here we go. Into my DMs. We're sliding into my DMs. Okay, this listener says, hey, Dr. Wendy, I just found out that the mid-30s guy I've been dating for a couple months has been depressed his entire life and has never gotten professional help. Would you walk away? It was even suicidal for a length of time, but not anymore. He said his father also has a history of severe depression. So, first of all, I'm not adverse to mental health issues, having love relationships. I mean, it's probably the healthiest thing we can do for ourselves, right? Is to have a good, healthy relationship because it's good for your mental health. On the other hand, the big issue here is that he's never. I'm wondering if, with him telling you this, he's testing you. He's putting out this big red flag. It says, I'm about to make your life miserable. You're going to hang on for that, and I'm not going to try to help you. So, your question you're asking me is, would I I would ask some questions and make some suggestions, and also see how this so-called depression, if he's never sought help for it, then he hasn't been diagnosed. So his version of depression might just be low self-esteem, low motivation, low processing speed, whatever. Watch how it shows up in your life, in the relationship, and talk about the symptoms. And if the symptoms are something you can live with, and you suggest he gets help and he doesn't, then I would close it. Because ultimately you're happiness. That's right. Dear Dr. Wendy, I'm 33 with no kids, and I do want one. I met a 37-year-old man. He said he'd be open to the idea. Is this reason so weird? I don't know. I'm not sure if I should pursue dating. So what's weird about it? 37-year-old man have babies all the time. We do know the reason. Autism or higher in older fathers. And then you're 33, so you're going to want to get on this pretty quickly. It's reasonable. The only two choices you're giving me, reasonable or weird, it's reasonable. Maybe he's been finding a way for a family too. You're going to do a relationship too. Maybe go see his therapist, figure out how you guys can have a healthy relationship. You're going to rush right into maybe marriage. I didn't do that. I literally, at the age of like 35, met a guy who was pregnant for 8 months. I love the relationship. I love the daughter. He's great. But we were rushing into it. So I had him show up to couples therapy. Figured out some stuff first. Dear Dr. Wendy, says this listener, how do you feel about your girlfriend of 1 year talking to a male friend about everything? A male friend who I've never met. Okay, well, this is a problem because this is emotional betrayal, right? If this male friend, she has emotional intimacy with him, different than you having physical intimacy with a woman, right? So I think you want to say to her, hey, if you're going to continue this relationship, I need to meet this person. We need to be buds. We need to share a beer. But if you have a separate emotional compartment off to the side with another person who might be a backup mate, think about it. We all came back from mates. It's not selfish. It's normal. Somebody in the wings, somebody in a relationship. Who would you call? Right? So don't let this guy hang there as the backup mate. Insist that you meet him. And you know, Shakespeare says, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Get close to that guy. I know what's up. All right, dear Dr. Wendy, last night I hooked up with a guy having a life. It was the first time we had a few dates. He texted immediately afterwards, which was nice. He's leaving today, or we can have a trip. How do I not prepare? How do I not be anxious? And keep the connection. So you're asking me for anxiety management, right? Because there's nothing you can do. Now is a time of wait and watch. See if he's going to try to keep in touch. And in between, you're going to breathe, you're going to exercise, you're going to hang out with your friends, you're going to practice self-care. You're going to meditate. Hopefully you're not going to drink too much. And you're going to wait and tell yourself that there's no mistakes in life. Now you're really, the test is to see if he's really there for a real hookup, if that's what you want. Depends on you. All right. Dear Dr. Wendy, I want to know how you handle this. So you go on a date and it goes well. You like the guy, he says he likes you. You both agree you like to grab hands, you exchange numbers. Do you expect him to text the very next day? Or is it all to wait a few days before he reaches out again? I'm just trying to figure out if I'm overthinking the scenario. Yes, you're overthinking the scenario, but we all overthink the scenario. So to show that somebody has good impulse control, you want them to be able to control themselves. Once it takes right away and all over you, you should worry about it. You're in mesh with those people they're controlling. Wait for the text. See, 2 to 4 days is the industry standard. He wants you to chill and make sure that he feels worthy. Don't get me judged. All right, so just wait. You guys have trouble calming yourself, waiting and seeing is very important. I think I have time for one more. Dear Dr. Wendy, when I'm on dating apps, one of the first questions men ask me is, do you live alone? Can you please help me understand why they would ask that? Oh, simple. They want to know if there's you alone in a warm bed waiting for them. They want to know if you're with your parents. They want to know if there's roommates around. They want to know if there's another guy around. They want to know how they can quarantine you. Yes, of course they're going to ask that. You can just say, when you let them know. Maybe you're going to be specific, but right away at the beginning, you're going to have boundaries. Because if you feel creeped out, I'm sure long enough to find your habit, you know. If it is, okay, we'll give it back. I'm getting married this summer. I think we know about why couples have conflicts over wedding planning. We're not. But there's some conflicts, and if you're engaged,
Bob Dobbs, can you hear me?
You're listening to the Dr. Wendy Wells Show. On KFI, AM 640, we're live everywhere.
Excellent. Do you know who David Goldstein is? Goldstein? Yeah, he's this guy on Twitter. He's pretty big influencer. He has like 900,000 followers. And I'm about to shill our coin. You ready for this, baby? You ready? I am. Yeah, I'm going to try. He's got 211 people talking to him right now.
Have you ever studied these guys, like somebody like him? Like, how did he start?
Just not right now. Not right now. I'm sorry. We'll go through all that. Just one moment. I'm about to speak. We'll go through all that. We'll talk about all that about me. I'm what like you can even see. I'm in here with my hand raised, about to talk. Oh, I'm gonna blow this motherfucker out of the water. I'm so ready. Calling me. I've been wanting to talk to this guy for like a year. Oh, I'm gonna show him right now.
I'm getting married. It would have been a good play, right? I'm becoming a bit of a bride. I think you have to have an open mind. Doesn't mean that you're doing anything. But it's so negative, right? Write things down. As if when a woman's planning one of the most exciting days of her life. There's like two extremes, right? There's like you can be Bitcoin magazine. I mean, that's fine.
Oh, come on. Please fuck up and call me.
And then there's the other extreme where you're just like buying every single like weekend like coin out there and you're gonna get wrecked. And so I have to do like really my coins now. I have like a spreadsheet on Excel and I'm looking into it well and I figure all that kind of stuff. Like find the you go with it. Yeah, there's actually things like this. Yeah, it'll be crazy. Oh, no.
I've had relationships with young men for years.
Yes, she listens to a woman.
Like right now, the music like that I have are moving. I'm kind of like
Propose.
on the old change, and I'm kind of smiling because some people tell me that I'm crazy.
Somehow I managed to hold blood pressure. And the next morning,
Anything that's in this February, I don't really think I'm fucking crazy.
Oh, dog, no one fucking cares. You talk so long. Go.
Character development is a fresh stuff from it. I don't think I'm crazy.
college, or a gap half year or something, and I was working for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in my school arms division.
Yeah, good evening.
And so 2 months after that, I set up a little sewing
Good,
store.
man. Why you rocking that ugly ass?
And I personally sewed bridesmaid dresses, flower girl dresses, and designed and made my own wedding dress. Oh yes, I even made my own wedding cake. Yeah, those were cakes that you could run to for like 6 weeks. That was me. I did flowers. It was winter in Canada, so they're all silk. With a deal back then before the Guinness. The bar it's fake, but at the time it was cool. And we were divorced 3 years ago. I have never been married since. It has been decades. Decades and decades and decades. No, I was a single mom for 18 years. It's a matter of no child support, 100% child custody. There was no way that I could ever get in a relationship. I dated a bit here and there until
Thank you so much for the opportunity, David. I don't know if you're familiar with our coin. We are a meme coin, but really what I'd like to talk to you about is our community. You have up here meme season. What are you buying right now? The reason why this is a great coin is because the community has some unique aspects. We have a VC, a video chat, that has been live for 10 months straight. We are live on 10 YouTube streams right now. We're live on 10 Rumble streams. We're live on 10 TikToks, 10 Twitters, 10 Telegrams. You name it, we are everywhere. We live broadcast our video chat. So right now we have a party going on. We're listening to you in this Twitter space. We're having a good time. If you're interested in a really good community, take a look at Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Ina. We just had an all-time high within the last week. We are stable. It's an excellent coin. If you're familiar with our dev, more like he just fought Bit Boy in the Karate Combat series. Really exciting stuff. And if you're familiar with what The Economist said on data in 2018, data is Earth's #1 resource. And if anything, this coin has more data on it than any coin because it has 10 simultaneous streams going at any given time. More light? You got it. I'll make that happen, David. Absolutely. I will make that happen in the DMs. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you. You have a great show, and I'll get that connection with More Light going, and best wishes. Thank you. Dude, Bob, did you hear that? Yeah, how cool is that? Lord, dude, how you doing, girl? Willie. Okay, girl, you be in the shower, girl. Dude, we just got a round of applause in this room.
cells of a little shot glass. We have disposable little beakers. And you line up four people, and they all have to speed the shots together. It's a late night wedding tradition amongst the Canadians, eh? So, I know. They'll figure it out. You might have disagreements about your future in-laws and how much. Meddling them out your mouth. We don't have that problem. His mother's lovely. I love her. She loves me. All good there. We're fine. Yes, you may need to talk to
Damn,
you
Lord.
about setting some boundaries.
You're like just what the doctor ordered.
Yes, yes. Don't let it grow. We kind of did the opposite. We started with all the people that were the most far away and gave them really early notice to book their airfare, hotel,
Wow.
etc. And once we knew that number,
God bless America.
they were first come, first served. Then we're gonna open it up.
God bless the state of New Jersey.
But, and
And
some people fight over
I
clashing visions of what it's going to look like. Here's the
don't
thing.
have words, kids. Don't have words. Look at this. Kids, it's like
He's really, he has
you're walking through the desert and there's absolutely no water.
It's wonderful.
You keep thinking over the next hill, there's got to be an oasis. But no, it's a mirage. And then all of a sudden, here we are. Just randomly, a beautiful woman walks into the VC and shares her voluptuous self with the community. It is just like manna from heaven, a blessing from Hashem, and I am all about it. Good for you, Laura. Good for you. Blessings on you. Look at that. Look how cool that is. I gotta be honest with you. I have to be honest with you, Laura. I've been staring exactly where you think I've been staring for the last minute and have not known that that is a Sonic bikini. That's how distracted I have been. I didn't have words. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's a pink Sonic. It's like a Barbie Sonic. I love it. Boy, was I hoping that it would have a wardrobe malfunction. Let me tell you that. $5. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Dog, hold on. We have to tell everyone in the DC. Hold on. This. Oh, tight. I don't know what I'm doing either. I'm just staring. Dog, what I would do. Wow. You with all those curves and me without any breaks. Damn you, girl. We need to do this more often. Wow, the community is missing out. But I am not. I'm taking it all in. Yeah, dog. Now, this all goes in my permanent hard drive. This goes in the spank bank. I've never been such a big fan of a video game franchise as I am at this moment. I really like Grand Theft Auto, but it doesn't have shit on Sonic at this moment. Please do. Are you going to wear this to the shore? Oh, I forgot. She said she can't hear us. So I've just been saying all that for nothing. James, you came at the right time. Dog, you came at the right time. Look at this. I don't think that's true. I mean, wait, I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect. I see that. But I think that like one person would be like, "Hey, Rabbi, what's going on?" If that were true, you know what I mean?
This offseason, evolve your sun care with new Banana Boat 360 fabric with advanced control mist.
Lord,
Means an all-new mist experience. Smells
she can't hear me.
really light on your skin.
I mean, I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect. I see that, but I think that like one person would be like, "Hey, Rabbi, what's going on?" If that were true, you know what I mean?
Resistant sports formula to kids SPF 50 plus. Try Banana Boat 360 mist. Walmart, Target, or Amazon.
Lord.
Hey, it's Jimmy. Today, Black folks now can
Can you please come to the VC period? I just got a really good interview opportunity for you with David.
Tell them Lawrence to do your show too.
Willie? Dog, she just left.
She said she'll be back to take a movie video.
Proof is coming. When unknown, you have nothing to fear. New Pampers Small Girls with blowout barrier helps prevent up to 100% of leaks, even blowouts.
Triple digits.
Swim Pampers Small Girls and download the Pampers Club app today and earn Pampers Cash with Pampers Cash for exclusive Pampers coupon savings and rewards. Click or tap the link now to learn more. Only redeemable by a Pampers Club. Redeem Pampers Cash and cash value.
At my Great Clip Salon, I get to use my skills as a stylist to make customers look and feel great.
I'm on fire, baby.
It's important to me to listen to what you want. And when your haircut's done, I'll save your details and clip them so you can get the look you love at any
Yeah.
Great Clip Salon, anywhere you are. Seeing customers light up at the end of their cut, that's what I love about my job. I'm Katie, and I'm a Great Clip Salon stylist.
Join the salon team. Visit jobs.greatclips.com. It is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social space slot games on jumpingcasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Jumping Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Jumping Casino's on the hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free.
I just spoke to David, and he wants to interview you this week.
That's jumpingcasino.com and live the Jump life. As humans, we're naturally driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search.
I just spoke
With
to
Indeed, when I was looking to
David,
hire
and he
someone,
wants to
it was
interview
so
you.
slow and overwhelming. I wish I had used Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy one. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. As the #1 audio company,
Yo, dog, where is my man? More light. He is always there when I don't need him, but when I need him, it takes him like 5 minutes to get back to me, and that's too long. Too long.
The best place you've never been. No, never been. What would it take to make it really good? How much effort? How much persistence? How much resilience? Will it all be worth it? Every day, we're working to bring that place closer with customer service that puts you first. That's how we stay well ahead. Blue Shield of California.
portions of the following program will be recorded by AFI. When your lights don't glow like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off
p.m. 6:40. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You know, I have been writing about, talking about, singing about everything about the science of love for quite a few decades. My journey started with me having so many bad boys and so many bad relationships, and then I learned there was this common denominator in every single one of my relationships, and it was me. I was picking them, and I was participating in them. And so as I started to study psychology, study the science of love, I started taking the jewels of wisdom that I would unearth and sharing them as a journalist in language that everybody can understand. Everybody hears that? You know, Richard Bob, who wrote that book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, once said, "We teach best what we most need to know." And so along the way, as I was writing books and blogs and making podcasts and radio shows and sharing all of this amazing wisdom and skills of relationship. Remember, relationships are far more about skill than they are luck. I was doing this stuff myself. I was learning. I was practicing. We teach best what we most need to learn. I think when I was young, I had immature love. And now, I'm so happy to say that I believe I have mature love. So let's talk about this. Are you in a relationship that feels like a roller coaster with ups and downs all the time? Where you're so excited, such highs, and then such
I know,
lows?
period.
This
I
is not
am hooking him up,
If you
period.
have poor conflict resolution skills, if after a fight you come to give somebody a silent treatment, or you just wash it over the bridge and don't even work it through.
This is a huge opportunity, period.
Somebody
If this works out, comma, I want to consider myself the John Stockton to his Karl Malone for this assist, period.
If you're not doing that, you're probably immature. Also, maybe your relationship has some level of codependency. When people rely on another person or each other to help them regulate their emotions, and that's the only way they can feel happiness, it is unbalanced. It is not your partner's job to make you happy. In fact, your job is to make yourself happy. Your job is to change your reaction to them. If you believe you're in a relationship where you need to change your partner, and I did have that thought many, many times when I was young. It's like, okay, put in this area, I'm just going to get him to change this. You know, my life got better, and I got happier, but I instead focused on how I could change myself and what I could learn to accept in my partner. Another thing that I think makes a relationship immature is feelings of insecurity. If you're worried you're going to lose your partner, if you're worried that you're not good enough for your partner, you'll never be able to have a healthy, confident, strong relationship. And the final thing I want to say about immature love is it often involves fear of autonomy. You're afraid to grow separately or do things on your own, or you're afraid to allow your partner to grow individually. You know, I always think of a good, healthy relationship as a Venn diagram. You know, those two overlapping circles. We have two individuals who are still growing and they have their own friends and jobs and fun. I mean, they share news of it all with their partner. And then they have this overlap where they have one life together. That's a healthy relationship. And they accommodate and adapt as each other grows and changes and brings new energy into the relationship. You don't want to get your growth stunted. So I talked a lot here about what is immature love. What do I think is mature love? Let's have it now. Let's start with trust. I mean, it is the foundation of all healthy, mature relationships. When you feel safe to completely confide in your partner, tell them anything, and you know you will still be loved. If I'm talking about my relationship right now, I always say, the thing I love best is I get to be me in it. You know, I spent a lot of years being told by men that I talk too much or have such strong opinions or don't say that. And I hate being shut down by men. And I have a guy who says, oh, we go out for a hike and we'll go for 30 minutes and you're still talking and I'm so entertained by you, the time just goes by. And he's happy with that. He's not complaining. It's wonderful. Also, that there's just no judgment. What I do in my relationship is I try to explore the why. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? What were you afraid of there? What happened there? Right? That is called being non-judgmental. And that is
I was just in his Twitter space and talked to him about our community and about the fight, and he said that he wanted to have more light on this week.
Putting yourself in their shoes, imagining that you're them. If both partners learn to do that on a regular basis, you will grow into a safe.
Well, there was tonight when I spoke to him, and that is when he said that he wanted to interview more light.
We shouldn't name call, yell, obviously no physical violence, obviously no blaming, like something is always one person's fault and the other person gets to be the hero. It's never their fault. No.
Bitcoin MLK, because that's why I joined the room, period.
Or what we do is human. Finding a way to get back to love afterwards. For sure, the worst way to have conflict is that silent treatment. You gotta talk about stuff. You got to bring the thing up. Also, mature love involves supporting each other. We are trying to figure out what our wedding vows will be next summer. And he said, why don't we just do the old-fashioned traditional ones? In sickness and in health, richer and poor, till death do us part. Because we're at a certain age, I've always said that when till death do us part was invented, death was pretty imminent, right? But because of our long life expectancies, people may have 2 or 3 long states of monogamy, they may have 2 or 3 marriages in their life. And so it's more likely to end with divorce. That doesn't mean it's a failed marriage.
I was on stage, period. I did the community crowd, period. Ask anyone, period.
Facing death. And so as a result, we are going to use, I think, those words. And finally, as I mentioned before, maintaining your own independence, getting to do your own stuff, and then bring it back. Like the pots of gold in the relationship. Guess what I did today? Guess who I saw today? I mean, you and I check in probably too much. At least 2, if not 3 times a day. We usually used to bring Monday news. Guess who just called? Guess what just happened? Right? Literally, function as anyone mind.
I've been trying to talk to this guy for like a year, period.
Bring that to each other. And that is what I wish you could do. On that note, that brings the Dr. Wendy Walsh show to a close. I'm always here for you every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. And you can also follow me on my social media. And the handle everywhere is at Dr. Wendy Walsh. I don't know if you've been on my TikTok lately, but I'm doing this new series, as I mentioned, on identity. So you might want to follow it on identity change. And also, I do a Patreon Zoom room every Wednesday night. You're welcome to join us there. Just go to patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. But I'm always here for KFI. You've been listening to the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Radio to listen to KFI. And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Smashing Island is charged by fight to the road. That's right. 3 people from LA were charged with a series of smashing robberies across California.
Allegedly, luxury clothing stores in LA, Orange, and Riverside counties. These aren't victims' crimes. Sometimes the suspects would use force. Again, after the event, the Total Towers Foundation promised to make sure we never forget. Since then, it's been supporting America's heroes and their families. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Michael Hill, who was killed. He held behind a pregnant fiancé who gave birth to a son. Total Towers paid off the mortgage on their home. America's heroes need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Total Towers at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
Nobody wants to have a deadline, but it happens, especially for women. That's why Engage offers the 30 Fix Annuity. It's designed for opportunity retirement needs with flexible withdrawals to help cover unexpected expenses, plus a guaranteed lifetime income. It keeps paying you even if your account lasts. Sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's the perfect episode. And it's one more example of financial future for women. One where they feel empowered, not enslaved, and ready to take on whatever the next chapter holds. Being rich brings financial flexibility and security into all of the youth world. And retirement income for kid career is the ultimate prize. Start saving now at GameBridge.com. Please visit GameBridge.io/party for office coaches and disclaimers and other information.
It's judgment in Westchester County, which is a sign she may be eyeing Trump's Briarcliff Manor Golf Club and Bedford Estate, known as Seven Springs, in addition to his properties in the city. Trump's attorneys have argued it's impossible for them to secure the bond to appeal. United Airlines is facing potential restrictions that would limit where they fly, possibly even eliminate some staff. ABC's Faith August says the Federal Aviation Administration is taking a closer look at the company after a series of serious mishaps.
The FAA is confirming it has increased its oversight over the airline to identify hazards and ensure safety. This all coming after a series of safety issues recently. United has put its employees on notice, telling them to actually expect an increased presence of the FAA in their operations while still stressing that safety is their top priority.
Palestinians who fled during an ongoing Israeli raid in and around the Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip's main hospitals say they have endured days of heavy fighting, mass arrests, and forced marches past dead bodies and flattened buildings. The Israeli military says it has killed over 170 militants and detained some 480 suspects in the raid on Shifa Hospital that began last Monday. A very tiny big game hunt has been organized for one of the largest animals in North America.
The state of Nevada is planning its first ever moose hunt this fall. Only 1 or 2 of the 100 or so moose in Nevada are likely to be killed, and the plan already has critics. State officials expect thousands of Nevadans will apply for the chance of one hunter like in suit hitting the lottery. Only a few dozen moose have been seen in Nevada until about a decade ago. Scientists are baffled by their southern movement into warmer territory. They say harvesting a few may help them better understand how climate change affects wildlife. Sandy Wells, KFI News.
X, formerly known as Twitter, has seen a steady decrease in the users since Elon Musk bought the company. Data shows the number of daily active users on the app is down 18% compared to the same time last year. The U.S. user base has fallen 23%, and the number of users worldwide has dropped 15%. Other social media apps like Instagram and TikTok say they've experienced increases in users during the same period. All right, let's take a look at your drive right now. Get a stall on the Fine and Santa Clarita.
Let me introduce you to Zelda's Intimate. It's a tiny little capsule you swallow, mint on the outside, partially sea oil on the inside, and clinically tested against the toughest offenders in garlic and onions. It's not just a mint. You pop 2 or 3 in your mouth, you suck them into coating, and then you swallow the capsule for a fresh, clean breath that lasts for hours, inviting into the muscle. It doesn't just cover up your bad breath, it cleans your breath away from the skin. It fights bad breath in your mouth, and goes down to your gut and really hurts you. Zelman's gives you a money-back guarantee. I know you never use. It's free shipping, 3 packs of more. Trust me, you don't want it. And I've known the folks who train Zelman's for 30 years. I proudly stand behind this product. Go to Zelmans.com, ZELMINS.com. 50% off. Use the code KY, Zelmans, ZELMINS.com. 15% off. Use the code KY, Zelmans, ZELMINS.com.
Bob Dobbs, can you hear me, baby? You're amazing. So thank you. I know I was impatient with you when I was like, hey, I can't talk right now. So I'd love to talk about how those guys build up those accounts and everything. But as you see, that was a big opportunity, and we took advantage of it. So, A+ work, man. Thank you. Okay, so when it comes to those accounts, there are several ways that people get it. I mean, I've been alive and I've been on social media since Twitter started, and I can tell you that even people who had accounts that were around in 2007 don't have tons of followers. If you don't follow people and follow back, you're not going to get a lot of followers. The way people, unless you're an influencer, so the way people get that amount of followers is a few ways. One, they can buy them. I can tell you the going rate of followers right now. For real followers to get 10,000 real followers, it'll take about 10 to 20 days, and it'll cost you about $350. But then you'll get 10,000 real followers. To get 10,000 fake followers, it's about $180, and you can get them in about 4 days. And why do I know this? Because I just priced it out for someone who is looking to improve their account. So then there are things that you can do to increase your account as well, such as there's something really important. Oh, like what we did with the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email account. We did a contest to get it from like 10,000 people or 40,000 people to 120,000 people. And that can do it. And so if you're like, did he really get 900,000 or whatever? Perhaps. Well, yeah, because he's on like Fox News and stuff. So,
We did that with the Harry Potter account.
yeah, we did a contest. That's why it's increased so much. We didn't buy them, but we did a contest.
When did that happen?
I want to say in the last month, because I've been watching that account, and you know, we had another account that got banned, and we were never able to get that one back. So we had to start with this new account, and it started at like 3,000 people. Like, I mean, it started with nothing, and then like everybody who found out it got banned, it got all the community members joined it. It eventually got like 3,000 people, and then got up to like 10,000. But it wasn't really doing really well until they did this contest in the last 2 months or something, and that got it over 120,000. And it was some kind of giveaway or something. You had to retweet and there was like a giveaway of, I don't want to say that for sure, but I think it was something along those lines. I asked more like directly. I said, how are you able to get over 100,000? Like, why aren't we celebrating that we had over 100,000 followers? That would be something like, I celebrated it at our trivia night. He's like, well, yeah, but I don't know how many of those are bots or not. And also, I'm like, well, how were we able to get so many? And he's like, well, we did this contest, and with the contest, it seems like that had a lot of opportunity. So, Ask Munch, I can't hear you right now. Just one moment, Black Drops, just one moment. Ask Munch, I can't hear you right now. If you want to speak, come to the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email room, and I can hear you better there. I'm talking to a couple of people there. I hope you're doing well, baby. Yeah, so, sorry, I've got a bunch of these phones, and they're involved in all kinds of places. But that David Goldstein, he has a huge show on Twitter. It's the biggest Twitter show. It's the biggest daily Twitter show I think that there is. And that's when I saw him. The reason why I was like, this was important to me was whenever I try to talk to him with my Rabbi Rothschild accounts, he never wants to talk. Whenever I want to talk to him with my Rabbi Rothschild accounts, he never wants to talk to me. I've been trying to talk to this guy for a year. But I have this Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email account that has like 100 followers on it. So it's not like it's an account that like doesn't have a ton of people on it, but it doesn't look like a fake account, and it has some content. So I know he took a look and was like, okay, well, whatever, let's talk to this person. And I was really happy to be able to plug that because that's what we need to do for this coin. Like, we can make memes all day long. That doesn't really do too much for us. Getting with influencers and doing interviews, like between two Frodos, that was a big interview that we did. More Light doing karate combat, that was huge. More Light being interviewed by David Goldstein, that would be huge. Are you picking up when I'm laying down, Bob Dobbs? Do I have to spoon feed you this alpha? Dog, do I need to? Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to listen to Joe Rogan. We're going to listen to what Joe Rogan you may be saying, Rabbi. Whatever one you want. If you have one that you want to listen to in particular. If you don't, then we'll just pick a random ass one and enjoy ourselves. We listened to Elon Musk last night and Ray Kurzweil. I've listened to his Ray Kurzweil one like 100 times. I've listened to the Sam Altman one like a bunch too, but it's pretty good. Do you know who Sam Altman is? He's the CEO of OpenAI, or former CEO. All right, so we're going to listen to him talk about how AI is going to take over the world. Are you ready for this? Bob Dobbs, I've asked you a fucking question. There's a question in your goddamn queue. I heard you say you're ready. I'm ready. Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out. The Joe Rogan Experience. Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night.
All day.
You know, here's what's crazy, man. I've been freaking out over the last few weeks, like at nighttime. Like at nighttime, I'll be alone and then just start thinking about the future of the world. And I start legit freaking out. Like, what would happen if we were legit Armageddon, Mad Max, nuclear war? Like, how far are we away from that? And it just give me anxiety before I go to sleep. I keep laying there. Fuck, like, how does this all resolve? Like, this fucking pops off now. Legit freaked out.
I've been definitely buying a lot of stuff lately for my house, like end of the world shit. Like I'm getting Tesla solar right now. I need a battery pack so I can live off the grid. And
Yeah, that's a good move.
yeah,
If you can get your house solar, that's a big move. Just fucking a bit of it. At a certain point in time, what's the electricity even getting other than keeping the lights on? What I'm scared of is all communications are gone. Like, how hard would it be to shut down a power grid? How hard would it be to blow a few satellites up? No one knows shit.
yeah. That's why that Starlink, the satellite thing. I'm thinking about getting that. Even though I have great internet, but just because what if? It's scary.
Yeah, I was in the mountains in Utah and they had Starlink. It was great. It works everywhere. But people keep thinking it's UFOs.
Oh yeah.
People keep filming it fun. What is that?
Yeah, the dots in the air.
Dude, everybody's looking for UFOs now, more than ever.
Yeah. Ring cameras are putting out $1 million bounty if you catch something on your Ring cameras right now. They will pay you $1 million.
That's good because they know they don't have to pay that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Very smart. Did you see that one in Vegas that they captured on camera? Like the dashboard cam of a police car caught this thing streaking through the sky, and then this family said that it landed in their backyard, and that these tall creatures got out of it. They saw the tall creatures, but then when George Knapp was going to interview them, I think it was on 2 separate occasions, they just fucking wouldn't answer the door.
Oh really?
Yeah, but I think also, they might have made the whole story up, right? That's most likely. But also, imagine how freaked out you'd be if all of a sudden the whole world wanted to talk to you because of a UFO in your backyard. And I don't know if they're legal. I believe they spoke Spanish. See if you can find that story. Because it was, at the beginning I was like, whoa. And then I was like, wow. one of those things that you want to be true, so you start like going, well, what is going on with this story? And then you read it more, you read into it more.
Yeah, that's all the stories, right?
Every one of them.
Yeah, it's never like, oh, we filmed it on the new iPhone. Look how great crisp it is.
The only ones that I ever really would make me pause are the ones from the military guys. And the ones from the military guys, the more I think about it, the more I think that is some absolute top secret shit that the United States government has developed. I think they have some super high-tech drone technology that operates on some very sophisticated propulsion system that we're not aware of.
Or different countries, you know.
I think it's America. I think the reason why I think it's America is because these things always happen where military bases are. Like one of them happened off the coast of the Nimitz in San Diego. You know, San Diego's where all the SEALs are. There's a bunch of military base. There's like a bunch of exercises that go on in the sea outside of San Diego. So that makes sense. And they were doing fighter jet testing and training out there. That's how they saw this thing. So that kind of makes sense to me. And then the other ones are in the East Coast, again, in the same kind of airspace where these guys practice all the time. And I had this one guy on, Ryan Graves, and he said that when they upgraded the equipment on their jets in 2014, I believe, that's when they started seeing all these things. That's when they're like, what the fuck is going on now? Is that an accident? Like, if they wanted to find out, you know, like whether or not these things were, you could detect them, you know, whether or not we could deploy them rather without anybody knowing. Wouldn't you test them with your own guys? Like, I would. You know, say, hey, here's the rules. Don't shoot at those things. If you see them, we don't know what the fuck they are. Yeah, but they probably do know what the fuck they are. But also real aliens. I leave everything on the table. I think you got a pie, the UFO pie, right? Most of it's bullshit. Like a good 70-65% is bullshit. That's really what you know me. Come on, man. I got a real alien problem. I got a UFO on the desk. We got a fucking alien head on the wall. But I'm also a realist, at least in some of this. And I look at it and I go, okay, most of it's just bullshit, and then misunderstandings. So what's misunderstandings? How many of them are shooting stars, which happen all the time? I saw one the other day. It was dope. Just the light, this guy just shot off and it dies off. It's pretty. How many of them are just fighter jets, shit like that? Have you ever seen like a stealth bomber? Have you ever seen one of those?
Yeah.
In the sky?
Not in the sky. I mean, I had it here. Let me see it.
We were filming Fear Factor in 2001, and it was right after 9/11. So we were out in what's the fucking city we were at? We would go there all the time. Palmdale. So Palmdale's like way out there. Oh, crap. It's a sketchy area, but also these big open roads that we could close down. And so we do these stunts with like giant semi trucks barreling down the road, and these people had to climb on the outside of the truck, shit like that. And so we were out there and we saw this thing just flying through the air like a fucking something out of Star Wars. Everybody stopped. We were like, whoa. It's a stealth bomber just flying through the sky. They look so sick. They look like they're not of this world.
You're talking about the Blackbird, right? Is that what it's called, Blackbird or something?
I think there's more than one of them,
The sexy one that's like all black and it looks like it has muscles.
It was sexy. It was very sexy. It was very black. It was very spaceship looking. See if they get a video of that thing. Is there more than one?
Well, there's a couple different stealth. There's the B2 stealth, which is probably the big one you're talking about. On the screen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. When I saw that thing, I was like, oh my God. If you didn't know, come on, man. And you saw that thing flying through the sky. Like, give me one of those images, like that image right there, too, right your picture. Yeah, click on that. If you just saw that, you'd be like, oh my God, we're getting invaded for sure.
Especially at night. Can you imagine? What is there a video of that at night? I bet that looks like a UFO.
I bet you can't see it at night. Like, you know, the whole idea is that it invades radar.
How's that even work? Oh, this is. It does look a little bit like a plane. But those three lights, don't people always say they see like three lights in the sky? How many of them are this thing? Probably a shit ton. You know? I mean, everybody always talks about a triangle-shaped craft, right? Well, there it is. Yeah. Fucking there it is. Yeah. The ones that they spotted over Phoenix. Remember they had that Phoenix lights?
And they always say, oh, it was going slow. And then out of nowhere, it just jet out of nowhere super fast.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh, that's a nice.
Yeah. But you think about it, if it has three lights under it, and it's flying through the air, and it's that high, all it have to do is turn those three lights off. And you're going, oh my God, it disappeared. Yeah. You know? You have no idea what's going on. It's now on the ground like that. That looks like a jet. Like a super dope jet. What's the other one?
I think it was still that's like not officially. I think the SR-72 hasn't been officially out.
What's that one on the far left? The white one? Yeah, no. Look at that thing. Wow, that looks cool. Fuck yeah, it looks cool. I mean, if you were, like when I was in high school in the 1980s, he told me like what a jet's gonna look like in 2003. I'm like, oh, like that. 2023. It was that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's an unmanned aircraft. That's 10 years ago.
Whoa. Yeah, see, so 10 years ago. So this thing off the coast of the Nimitz, this is 2004, so that's almost 20 years ago. That's the only thing that gives me pause. I was like, did they really have that kind of technology 20 years ago? Where something could jet off into the sky and go from 50,000 feet above sea level to 0 in a second? Did they have that back then? Maybe they had that, but just they didn't have any way to use it, and so they just hold on to it. I mean, like, what would you use that for? Like, if they did have it, here's the thing: if they had something like that, like the Tic Tac, have you seen the Tic Tac one? That's the videos that's the one that's the most legit because it's two separate jets, multiple eyeballs on this thing, video evidence of this thing, radar data.
This thing out. This is a Chinese drone, and it says it moves with bursts of compressed air.
This testbed drone could influence its upcoming sixth-generation fighter design. The drone features active flow technology, which uses bursts of high-pressure air from actuators embedded in the aircraft's body for maneuvering instead of traditional moving control surfaces such as, I don't know how to say that, ailerons, rudders, and elevators. Wow. So it uses compressed air to flutter and maneuver. But what does that thing do if winds are fucked up? Can it push against the winds? Like, how's that air work?
Probably fossil parts made in China.
Bro, they made your phone. They make great stuff, too. So that's the funny thing, right? We think made in China's cheap. Bitch, made in China's everything. Yeah. We can't make a single phone over there. That is the dumbest thing of all time.
Crazy.
They tried, right? Not hard. If China could do it, right? We've talked about this before, but if they made a phone in America, you didn't have to feel terrible about people working in the cobalt mines to get the cobalt out of the ground, and if you didn't have to feel terrible about people working 16 hours a day, sleeping in cots, jumping off the roof, manufacturing it, you'd be happy to pay a little more. Okay, unlike traditional AFC, which uses high-pressure air to maneuver an aircraft, plasma AFC works by using a thin membrane in front of a flying wing aircraft which ionizes air molecules. The ionized air molecules generate a plasma shower that accelerates the airflow, which can keep the craft from stalling if it goes down a particular airspeed. For example, China's plasma AFC is claiming to prevent stalls even if the aircraft speed drops to unusually low 108 kilometers per hour. I find that's low. But that's what is that? 100, 65 something. What's 200 miles an hour, or 200 kilometers is 60 miles an hour, right? Because I know that from cars. We were supposed to adopt the metric system when I was in fucking grammar school, bro. Yeah. We were supposed to get on board with soccer, and we were supposed to get on board with the metric system.
It's Celsius, right?
Yep. That's part of it. It's all. Ours is so goofy. It's so stupid. Ours is second only to England.
England still uses stone. People, he weighs 16 stone. I think it's 13 pounds. Is that what a stone is? We Googled it once, like what the root of that was. Like they had just made a measurement, fucking 14 pounds. So that's like from back in the probably the barbarian days. This stone would be how we measure food in gold. You know, and however many of them. You know, we have 3 stone. It's just like it's so medieval. Stone. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's weird. But it's weird that we're not all on board with one measurement and we fucked it up. Like we easily could have gave up on
Dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. This is supposed to be Sam Altman and it's Brian Redband. And you're probably like, you're not talking about AI or I don't know what the fuck that guy's saying. Alright. I don't know why the fuck that kid won't. See if we can find Sam Altman. We can't. Shit happens when you party naked.
Some of our best ideas come from waiting in line for coffee or simply soaking in the shower without a screen to occupy our attentions. But before technology took over our lives, people found other ways to alleviate boredom. In the late 19th century in Australia, boredom was absolutely
Together here, I don't think people have quite realized the stakes. But this is like, I don't think
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out. The Joe Rogan Experience. Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day. All right, Sam, what's happening? Not much. Thanks for coming in here. Appreciate it. Thanks, man. So, what have you done?
like ever.
Yeah, okay, what have you done with AI? I mean, it's one of the things about this is, I mean, I think everyone is fascinated by it. I mean, everyone is absolutely blown away at the current capability and wondering what the potential for the future is and whether or not that's a good thing.
I think it's going to be a great thing, but I think it's not going to be all a great thing. And that is where I think that's where all of the complexity comes in for people. It's not this like clean story of we're going to do this and it's all going to be great. It's we're going to do this. It's going to be net great, but it's going to be like a technological revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution. And those always come with change. And even if it's like net wonderful, you know, there's things we're going to lose along the way. Some kinds of jobs, some kind of parts of our way of life, some parts of the way we live are going to change, go away. And no matter how tremendous the upside is there, and I believe it will be tremendously good, you know, there's a lot of stuff we got to navigate through to make sure. That's a complicated thing for anyone to wrap their heads around, and there's deep and super understandable emotions around that.
That's a very honest answer. It's not all going to be good. But it seems inevitable at this point.
It's definitely inevitable. My view of the world, you know, when you're like a kid in school, you learn about this technological revolution and that one and that one. And my view of the world now, sort of looking backwards and forwards, is that this is like one long technological revolution. And we had, first we had to figure out agriculture, so that we had the resources and time to figure out how to build machines, and then the Industrial Revolution. And that made us learn about a lot of stuff, a lot of other scientific discovery too. Let us do the computer revolution, and that's now letting us, as we scale up these massive systems, do the AI revolution. But it really is just one long story of humans discovering science and technology and co-evolving with it. And I think it's the most exciting story of all time. I think it's how we get to this world of abundance. And although we do have these things to navigate, there will be these downsides. If you think about what it means for the world, for people's quality of lives, if we can get to a world where the cost of intelligence and the abundance that comes with that, the cost dramatically falls, the abundance goes way up. I think we'll do the same thing with energy. And I think those are the two sort of key inputs to everything else we want. So if we can have abundant and cheap energy and intelligence, that will transform people's lives largely for the better, and I think it's gonna, in the same way that we could go back now 500 years and look at someone's life, we'd say, well, there's some great things, but they didn't have this, they didn't have that. Can you believe they didn't have modern medicine? That's what people are going to look back at us like, but in 50 years.
When you think about the people that currently rely on jobs that AI will replace, when you think about whether it's truck drivers or automation workers, people that work in the factory assembly lines, what, if anything, what strategies can be put to mitigate the negative downsides of those jobs being eliminated by AI?
So I'll talk about some general thoughts, but I find making very specific predictions difficult because the way the technology goes has been so different than even my own intuitions, or certainly my own intuitions.
Maybe we should stop there, back up a little. What were your initial thoughts?
If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said, first, AI is going to come for blue-collar labor, basically. It's going to drive trucks and do factory work, and, it'll handle heavy machinery. Then, maybe after that, it'll do, like, some kinds of cognitive labor, but not, it won't be off doing what I think of personally as the really hard stuff. It won't be off proving new mathematical theorems, won't be off, discovering new science, won't be off writing code. And then eventually, maybe last of all, maybe never, because human creativity is this magic special thing. Last of all, it'll come from the creative jobs. That's what I would have said. Now, it looks to me like, and for a while, AI is much better at doing tasks than doing jobs. It can do these little pieces super well, but sometimes it goes off the rails, can't keep very long coherence. So people are instead just able to do their existing jobs way more productively. But you really still need the human there today. And then B, it's going exactly in the direction. Do the creative work first, stuff like coding second, and they can do things like other kinds of cognitive labor third, and we're the furthest away from humanoid robots.
So back to the initial question. If we do have something that completely eliminates factory workers, completely eliminates truck drivers, delivery drivers, things along those lines, that creates this massive vacuum in our society.
So I think there's things that we're going to do that are good to do but not sufficient. So I think at some point we will do something like a UBI or some other kind of very long-term unemployment insurance something, but we'll have some way of giving people, redistributing money in society as a cushion for people as people figure out their new jobs. But, maybe I should touch on that. I'm not a believer at all that there won't be lots of new jobs. I think human creativity, desire for status, wanting different ways to compete, invent new things, feel part of the community, feel valued, that's not going to go anywhere. People have worried about that forever. What happens is we get better tools and we just invent new things and more amazing things to do. And there's a big universe out there. And I think, literally, there's space is really big, but also there's just so much stuff we can all do if we do get to this world of abundant intelligence where you can sort of just think of a new idea and it gets created. But again, that doesn't, to the point we started with, that doesn't provide great solace to people who are losing their jobs today. So saying there's going to be this great indefinite stuff in the future, people are like, what are we doing today? So, I think we will, as a society, do things like UBI and other ways of redistribution, but I don't think that gets at the core of what people want. I think what people want is agency, self-determination, the ability to play a role in architecting the future along with the rest of society, the ability to express themselves and create something meaningful to them. And also, I think a lot of people work jobs they hate, and I think we as a society are always a little bit confused about whether we want to work more or work less. But somehow we all get to do something meaningful, and we all get to play our role in driving the future forward. That's really important. And what I hope is as those long haul truck driving jobs go away, which, people have been wrong about predicting how fast that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. We figure out not just a way to solve the economic problem by giving people the equivalent of money every month, but that there's a way that, and we've had a lot of ideas about this, there's a way that we share ownership and decision making over the future. The thing I say a lot about AGI is that everyone realizes we're going to have to share the benefits of that, but we also have to share the decision making over it and access to the system itself. I'd be more excited about a world where we say, rather than give everybody on Earth 1/8 billionth of the AGI money, which we should do that too, we say you get 1/8 billionth of a 1/8 billionth slice of the system. You can sell it to somebody else, you can sell it to a company, you can pool it with other people, you can use it for whatever creative pursuit you want, you can use it to figure out how to start some new business. And with that, you get sort of a voting right over how this is all going to be used. And so the better the AGI gets, the more your little 1/8 billionth ownership is worth to you.
We are brought to you by Roka. If you've been listening for a while, you may have heard me talk about Roka sunglasses. They are my absolute favorite. But today, I want you to know about the prescription eyewear. If you are active and have bad eyes, do not skip this shit. Roka is a brand based in Austin, Texas, and they have been making performance eyewear for Olympic gold medalists and world champion athletes since 2016. For the last few years, Roka has been building out a badass prescription offering and invested millions of dollars to build their own optical lab right here in Austin at their headquarters. All of Roka's frames work for prescription lenses, and they have something for everyone, no matter how fucked up your eyes are. Regular prescription, progressives, also readers. Since they cut their own lenses, they can also work with extreme ranges that a lot of other brands can't offer. I've been wearing the readers and sunglasses for a few years now and absolutely love them. They are ultra lightweight, super comfortable, and Roka fixed that problem where glasses slip off your nose when you're looking down. They're the best. Since Rokas stay on your face, you can actually work out in them and ditch the contacts. Some brands have made prescription eyewear easy to get online. Roka did that and actually made their products better too. No bullshit. Check them out. I can wear anything, but I choose to wear Roka, and you should too. Get 20% off your order with the code ROGAN at Roka.com. That's ROKA.com. We were joking around the other day on the podcast where I was saying that what we need is an AI government. We should have an AI president and have AI
just make all the decisions.
Yeah, have something that's completely unbiased, absolutely rational, has the accumulated knowledge of the entire human history at its disposal, including all knowledge of psychology and psychological study, including UBI, because that comes with a host of, pitfalls and issues that people have with it.
So I'll say something there. I think we're still very far away from a system is capable enough and reliable enough that any of us would want that. But I'll tell you something I love about that. Someday, let's say that thing gets built. The fact that it can go around and talk to every person on Earth, understand their exact preferences.
What's going on, Gustav? How are you, baby? Enjoying life. Thank you. Hey, do you know who Morelight is?
Yeah, he's dead.
Exactly. So the biggest Twitter influencer who has a morning show on Twitter Spaces. His name is David Goldstein, and you know who I'm talking about? Anyway,
I heard about David.
Yeah, exactly. So he was doing a Twitter Space tonight, just within the last hour, and I've been wanting to talk to this guy for a year. But he's really hard to get a hold of because his spaces aren't open discussions. He has so many followers that he just is able to speak. He has 700 or 800,000 followers. And he routinely has the biggest spaces on Twitter Spaces. So I saw though that he had a space tonight with only like 200 people, not like his normal like thousands of people. So I also had an account that I thought he might use. He might call me up because he said it was like a meme space. He wanted to talk about meme coins. So I had a Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu account. So I went in to talk to him, and after he put me on hold for a while, I finally had the opportunity, and I was able to tell him about the community. I was able to tell him about Morelight. He knew about Morelight's fight with BitBoy, and he said he'd like to interview Morelight this week on his show, which is really great. And I said, I will make that happen. So I agree. So basically, our dev is going to be on the biggest X morning show on the internet. So that's cool. Hopefully this week.
I'm looking forward to that, man. Great.
Absolutely, I'm proud of that. So, yeah. How are things in your world? How are things with you, Gustav? Gustav, can you hear me? I can't hear you if you're talking, baby. Gustav, can you hear me? Gustav. Oh, Gustav bounced. Gustav bounced.
They balance the trade-offs and what they want, and then understand all of that, and like collectively optimize for the collective preferences of humanity or citizens of the U.S. That's awesome.
As long as it's not co-opted, right? Our government currently is co-opted.
That's for sure.
We know for sure that our government is heavily influenced by special interests. If we could have an artificial intelligence government that has no influence, nothing has influence on it.
What a fascinating thing.
It's possible, and I think it might be the only way where you're going to get completely objective, the absolute most intelligent decision for virtually every problem, every dilemma that we face currently in society.
Would you truly be comfortable handing over like final decision making? Say, all right, AI, you got it.
No, but I'm not comfortable doing that with anybody.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't. Right. I was uncomfortable with the Patriot Act. I'm uncomfortable with many decisions that are being made. It's just there's so much obvious evidence that decisions that are being made are not being made in the best interest of the overall well of people. It's being made in the decisions of whatever gigantic corporations that have donated to whatever the military-industrial complex and pharmaceutical industrial complex, and it's just the money. That's really what we know today, that money has a massive influence on our society and the choices that get made, and the overall good or bad for the population.
Yeah, I have no disagreement at all. The current system is super broken, not working for people, super corrupt, and for sure, like, unbelievably run by money.
Yeah.
And I think there is a way to do a better job than that with AI in some way. But, and this might just be like a factor of sitting with the systems all day and watching all of the ways they fail. We got a long way to go.
A long way to go, I'm sure. But when you think of AGI, when you think of the possible future, like where it goes to, do you ever extrapolate? Do you ever like sit and pause and say, well, if this becomes sentient and it has the ability to make better versions of itself, how long before we're literally dealing with a god?
So the way that I think about this is, it used to be that like AGI was this very binary moment. It was before and after, and I think I'm totally wrong about that. And the right way to think about it is this continuum of intelligence, this smooth exponential curve, back all the way to that sort of smooth curve of technological revolution. The amount of compute power we can put into the system, the scientific ideas about how to make it more efficient and smarter, to give it the ability to do reasoning, to think about how to improve itself, that will all come. But my model for a long time, I think if you look at the world of AGI thinkers, there's sort of two, particularly around the safety issues you're talking about, there's two axes that matter. There's the what called short timelines or long timelines, to the first milestone of AGI, whatever that's going to be. Is that going to happen in a few years, a few decades, maybe even longer, although this might be most people are a few years, a few decades. And then there's takeoff speed. Once we get there, from there to that point you're talking about where it's capable of the rapid self-improvement, is that a slower or faster process? The world that I think that we're in, and also the world that I think is the most controllable and the safest, is the short timelines and slow takeoff quadrant. And I think we're going to have, there were a lot of very smart people for a while who were like, the thing you're just talking about happens in a day or 3 days. And that doesn't seem likely to me given the shape of the technology as we understand it now. Now, even if that happens in a decade or 3 decades, it's still like the blink of an eye from a historical perspective. And there are going to be some real challenges to getting that right. And the decisions we make, the sort of safety systems and the checks that the world puts in place, how we think about global regulation or rules of the road from a safety perspective for those projects, it's super important because you can imagine many things going horribly wrong. But I feel cheerful about the progress the world is making towards taking this seriously. And, it reminds me of what I've read about the conversations that the world had right around the development of nuclear weapons.
It seems to me that this is, at least in terms of public consciousness, this has emerged very rapidly, where I don't think anyone was really aware. People were aware of the concept of artificial intelligence, but they didn't think that it was going to be implemented so comprehensively, so quickly.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is on, 4.5 now? 4. And with 4.5, there'll be some sort of an exponential increase in its abilities.
It'll be somewhat better. Each step, from each half step like that, you kind of, humans have this ability to get used to any new technology so quickly. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think was unusual about the launch of ChatGPT 3.5 and then 4 was that people haven't really been paying attention. And that's part of the reason we deploy. We think it's very important that people and institutions have time to gradually understand this, react, co-design the society that we want with it. And if you just build AGI in secret and allow it and then drop it on the world all at once, I think that's a really bad idea. So we have been trying to talk to the world about this for a while. People, if you don't give people something they can feel and use in their lives, they don't quite take it seriously. Everybody's busy. And so there was this big overhang from where the technology was to where public consciousness was. Now, that's caught up. We've deployed. I think people understand it. I don't expect the jump from 4 to whenever we finish 4.5, which would be a little while. I don't expect that to be I think the crazy switch, the crazy adjustment that people have had to go through has mostly happened. I think most people have gone from thinking that AGI was science fiction and very far off to something that needs to happen. And that was like a one-time reframe. And now, every year you get a new iPhone. Over the 15 years or whatever since the launch, they've gotten dramatically better. But iPhone to iPhone, you're like, yeah, okay, it's a little better. But now if you go hold up the first iPhone to the 15 or whatever, that's a big difference. GPT 3.5 to AGI, that'll be a big difference. But along the way, it'll just get incrementally better.
Do you think about the convergence of things like Neuralink and there's a few competing technologies where they're trying to implement some sort of a connection between the human biological system and technology?
Do you want one of those things in your head?
I don't until everybody does.
Right.
And, I have a joke about it, but it's the idea is once it gets done, you have to because everybody's going to have it.
So one of the hard questions about the merge, all of the related merge stuff, is exactly what you just said. As a society, are we going to let some people merge with AGI,
Right.
not others. And if we do, then, and you choose not to, like, what does that mean for you?
Right. And will you be protected?
How do you get that moment right? If we imagine all the way out to the sci-fi future. There've been a lot of sci-fi books written about how you get that moment right. Who gets to do that first? What about people who don't want to? How do you make sure the people that do it first actually help lift everybody up together?
Yeah.
How do you make sure people who want to just live their very human life get to do that? That stuff is really hard, and honestly, so far off from my problems of the day that I don't get to think about that as much as I'd like to, because I do think it's super interesting. But yeah, it seems like if we just think logically, that's going to be a huge challenge at some point, and people are going to want wildly divergent things, but there is a societal question about how we're going to, the questions of fairness that come there and what it means for the people who don't do it. Super, super complicated. Anyway, on the neural interface side, I'm in the short term, before we figure out how to upload someone's consciousness into a computer, if that's even possible at all, which there's plenty of sides you could take on why it's not. The thing that I find myself most interested in is what we can do without drilling a hole in someone's head. How much of the inner monologue can we read out with an externally mounted device? And if we have a imperfect, low bandwidth, low accuracy neural interface, can people still just learn how to use it really well in a way that's quite powerful for what they can now do with a new computing platform? And my guess is we'll figure that out.
I'm sure you've seen that headpiece. There's a demonstration where there's someone asking someone a question. They have this headpiece on, they think the question, and then they literally Google the question, get the answers through their head.
That's the kind of thing that's the kind of direction we've been exploring.
Yeah. That seems to me to be step one. That's the Pong of the eventual immersive 3D video games. You're going to get these first steps, and they're going to seem sort of crude and slow. I mean, it's essentially slower than just asking Siri.
I think if someone built a system where you could think words, doesn't just be a question, it could just be your passive rambling inner monologue, but certainly could be a question. And that was being fed into GPT-5 or 6, and in your field of vision, the words in response were being displayed. That would be the poem.
Yeah.
That's still that's a very valuable tool to have.
And that seems like that's inevitable.
There's hard work to get there on the neural interface side, but I believe it will happen.
Yeah, I think so too. And my concern is that the initial adopters of this will have such a massive advantage over the general population.
Well, that doesn't concern me, because that's that's just better, that's a better computer. You're not jacking your brain into something in a high risk thing. You know what you do when you don't want that? When you take off the glasses. So that feels fine.
Well, this is just the external device then.
Oh, I think we can do the kind of read your thoughts with an external device at some point. Read your internal monologue.
Interesting. And do you think we'll be able to communicate with an external device as well, telepathically? Or semi-telepathically through technology?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I think so too. My real concern is that once we take this step to use an actual neural interface, when there's an actual operation, and they're using some sort of an implant, and then that implant becomes more sophisticated. It's not the iPhone 1, now it's the iPhone 15. And as these things get better and better, we're on the road to cyborgs. We're on the road to, why would you want to be a biological person? Do you really want to live in a fucking log cabin when you can be in the Matrix? I mean, it seems like we're on this path.
We're already a little bit down that path, right? If you take away someone's phone, and they have to go function in the world today, they're at a disadvantage over everybody else. So that's maybe that's the lightest weight version of a merge we could imagine. But I think it's worth if we go back to that earlier thing about the one exponential curve, I think it's worth saying we've like lifted off the x-axis already down this path, the tiniest bit. And yeah, even if you don't go all the way to like a neural interface, VR will get so good that some people just don't want to take it off that much.
Right.
And that's fine for them, as long as we can solve this question of how do we like think about what a balance of power means in the world. I think there will be many people. I'm certainly one of them. Like actually, the human body and the human experience is pretty great. That log cabin in the woods, pretty awesome. I don't want to be there all the time. I'd love to go play the great video game, but like, I'm really happy to get to go there sometimes.
Yeah, there's still human experiences that are just like great human experience. Just laughing with friends. You know, kissing someone that you've never kissed before, that you're on a first date. Those kind of things are they're real moments, and just laughs. Yeah, having a glass of wine with a friend, just laughing.
Not quite the same in VR.
Yeah,
now when the VR goes super far, so you can't, it's like you are injected on your brain and you can't tell what's real and what's not. And then everybody gets like super deep on the simulation hypothesis or the like Eastern religion or whatever. And I don't know how to do that.
Do you ever fuck around with simulation theory? Because the real problem is when you combine that with probability theory and you talk to the people that say, well, if you just look at the numbers, the probability that we're already in a simulation is much higher than the probability that we're not.
It's never been clear to me what to do about it. It's like, okay, that intellectually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think probably, sure.
Right.
That seems convincing, but
now
this is my reality.
Yeah.
This is my life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live it. And I've from like 2 a.m. in my college freshman dorm hallway till now, I've made no more progress on it than that.
Well, it seems like one of those, there's no, if it is a possibility, if it is real, first of all, once it happens, what are you going to do? I mean, that is the new reality. And in many ways, our new reality is as alien to, hunter-gatherers 15,000 years ago as that would be to us now. I mean, we've already entered into some very bizarre territory where, I was just having a conversation with my kids. We were asking questions about something, and I've always said, let's guess what percentage of that is this, and then we just Google it, and then just ask Siri, and we pull it up. Like, look at that. Like, that alone is so bizarre compared to how it was when I was 13, and you had to go to the library and hope that the book was accurate.
Totally. I was very annoyed I was reading about how horrible systems like ChatGPT and Google are for the environmental impact because it's, using like some extremely tiny amount of energy for each query. And, we're all destroying the world. And I was like, before that, people drove to the library. Let's talk about how much carbon they burn to answer this question versus what it takes now. Come on.
But that's just people looking for some reason why something's bad. That's not a logical perspective. What we should be looking at is the spectacular changes that are possible through this. And all the problems, the insurmountable problems that we have with resources, with the environment, with cleaning up the ocean, climate change. There's so many problems that we have
to solve all of everything else.
And that's why we need President AI.
If AI could make every scientific discovery, but we still have human presidents, do you think it would be okay?
No. Because those creeps would still be pocketing money and they'd have offshore accounts, and it would always be a weird thing of corruption and how to mitigate that corruption, which is also one of the fascinating things about the current state of technology is that we're so much more aware of corruption. There's so much independent reporting, and we're so much more cognizant of the actual problems that are in place.
This is really great. One of the things that I've observed, obviously many other people too, is corruption is such an incredible hindrance to getting anything done in a society to make it forward progress. And my worldview had been more U.S. centric when I was younger, and as I've just studied the world more and had to work in more places in the world, like it's amazing how much corruption there still is. But the shift to a technologically enabled world, I think, is a major force against it because everything it's harder to hide stuff. And I do think corruption in the world will keep trending down.
Because of its exposure through technology. This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. College basketball fans, it's tournament time. The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and you can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook. To celebrate the game's most frenzied time of the year, DraftKings is giving new customers a chance to score big. You can bet on any college basketball national tournament game and turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Rogan. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only with DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Rogan. The crown is yours. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more.
Must be 21 or older. Indiana only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/bball. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This episode is brought to you by Fast Growing Trees. If you want to know what you're putting in your body, growing your own food is a great place to start. But listen, starting a garden doesn't have to be intimidating. I'd like to recommend Fast Growing Trees, one of the biggest online nurseries in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants that will be shipped to your door in just 1 to 2 days. That includes lemon, avocado, olive, and fig trees that you can grow inside your home. I love that you don't even need to have a lot of land to work with these guys. And if you don't have the greenest of thumbs, don't worry. Fast Growing Trees has a 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, plus free plant consultations. I think it's great that they'll help you with every step from finding the best plants for your garden to designing the layout and talking you through plant care. Truly, this is where your self-sustainability starts. And right now, they have some of the best deals online, like up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show can get an additional 15% off their first purchase when using the code JRE at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code JRE at checkout. One more time, fastgrowingtrees.com, code JRE. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
I mean, it comes at a cost, and I think the loss, I am very worried about how far the surveillance state could go here. But in a world where payments, for example, are no longer like bags of cash, but done somehow digitally, and somebody, even if you're using Bitcoin, can watch those flows. I think that's like a corruption-reducing thing.
I agree, but I'm very worried about central bank digital currency and that being tied to a social credit score.
That's super against.
Yeah, that scares the shit out of me.
Super against.
And that the push to that is not. That's not for the overall good of society. That's for control.
Yeah, I think there's many things that I'm disappointed that the U.S. government has done recently, but the war on crypto, which I think is we can't give this up, we're going to control this and all that. That's that's the thing that makes me quite sad about the country.
It makes me quite sad about the country too, but then you also see with things like FTX, this can get, without regulation and without someone overseeing it, this can get really fucked.
Yeah, I'm not anti-regulation. I think there's clearly a role for it, and I also think FTX was a sort of comically bad situation. Yeah, we shouldn't.
It's like worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fun one.
It's totally fun. And
I love that story.
I mean, you clearly.
I really do. I love the fact that they were all doing drugs and having sex with each other.
No. It had every part of the drama. It's a gripping story because they had everything there.
They did their taxes with what was the program that they used? QuickBooks. They deal with billions of dollars.
I don't know why I think there were polycule is so funny. But
Polycule?
that was what they like, what you call a relationship, like a poly but closed, like polyamorous molecule put together.
Oh, I see.
So they were like, this is our polycule.
So there's 9 of them and they're poly.
Or 10 of them or whatever. Yeah, you call that a polycule. I thought that was the funny, like, that became like a meme in Silicon Valley for a while, that I thought was hilarious. You clearly want enough regulation that can't happen, but they're like.
Well, I'm not against that happening. I'm against them doing what they did with the money.
That's what I mean.
Polycules kind of fun.
Go for it. No, I mean you want enough thing that like FTX can't lose all of its depositors' money.
Yes.
But I think there's an important point here, which is you have all of this other regulation that people and it didn't keep us safe. And the basic thing, which was like, let's do that. That was not all of the crypto stuff people were talking about.
Yes. I mean, the real fascinating crypto is Bitcoin. To me, that's the one that I think has the most likely possibility of becoming a universal viable currency. And it's, it's limited in the amount that there can be. It's, people mine it with their own. It's like, that to me is very fascinating. And I love the fact that it's been implemented. And that, at least I've had Andres Antonopoulos on the podcast, and when he talks about it, he's living it. He's spending all of his money. Everything he gets paid is in Bitcoin, pays his rent in Bitcoin. Everything he does is in Bitcoin.
I helped start a project called WorldCoin a few years ago. And so I've gotten to learn more about this space. I'm excited about it for the same reasons. I'm excited about Bitcoin too. But I think this idea that we have a global currency that is outside of the control of any government is a super logical and important step on the tech tree.
Yeah, agreed. And why should the government control currencies? The government should be dealing with all the pressing environmental, social, infrastructure issues, foreign policy issues, economic issues, the things that we need to be governed in order to have a peaceful and prosperous society that's equal and equitable.
What do you think happens to money and currency after AGI?
I've wondered about that because I feel like with money, especially when money goes digital, the bottleneck is access. If we get to a point where all information is just freely shared everywhere, there are no secrets, there are no boundaries, there are no borders. We're reading minds. We have complete access to all of the information of everything you've ever done, everything everyone's ever said. There's no hidden secrets. What is money then? Money is this digital thing. Well, how can you possess it? How can you possess this digital thing if there's literally no bottleneck? There's no barriers to anyone accessing any information because essentially it's just ones and zeros.
Yeah, I mean, another way, I think the information frame makes sense. Another way is that like money is like a sort of way to trade labor or to trade like a limited number of hard assets like land, houses, whatever. And if you think about a world where like intellectual labor is just readily available and super cheap, then that's somehow very different. I think there will always be goods that we want to be scarce and expensive, but it'll only be those goods that we want to be scarce and expensive and services that still are. And so money in a world like that, I think, is just it's a very curious idea.
Yeah, it becomes a different thing. I mean, it's not a bag of gold in a leather pouch that you're carrying around.
It's not going to do much good.
Yeah, it's not going to do much good. But then the question becomes, how is that money distributed, and how do we avoid some horrible Marxist society where there's one totalitarian government that just
fills it out?
Yeah,
That'll do that. I think you've got to like. My current best idea, maybe there's something better, is I think you act like if we are right, for a lot of reasons we can be wrong, if we are right that like the AGI systems, of which there will be a few, become the high order bits of sort of influence whatever in the world, I think you do need like not to just redistribute the money, but the access so that people can make their own decisions about how to use it and how to govern it. And if you've got one idea, you get to do this. If I've got one idea, I get to do that. where I want with my part of it. And if I come up with better ideas than you, I get rewarded for that by whatever the society is, or vice versa.
Yeah. You know, the hardliners, the people that are against like welfare and against any sort of UG, universal basic income and beyond, what they're really concerned with is human nature, right? They believe that if you remove incentives, if you just give people free money, they become addicted to it, they become lazy. But isn't that a human biological and psychological bottleneck? And perhaps with the implementation of artificial intelligence combined with some sort of neural interface, whether it's external or internal, it seems like that's a problem that can be solved. That you can essentially, and this is where it gets really spooky, you can re-engineer the human biological system, and you can remove all of these problems that people have that are essentially problems that date back to human reward systems when we were tribal people, hunter-gatherer people, whether it's jealousy, lust, envy, all these variables that come into play when you're dealing with money and status and social status. If those are eliminated with technology, essentially we become a next version of what the human species is possible. Like, look, we're very, very far removed from tribal, brutal societies of cave people. We all agree that this is a way better way to live. It's way safer. You know, I was talking about this at my comedy club last night because my wife was, we were talking about DNA, and my wife was saying that, look, everybody came from cave people, which is kind of a fucked up thought, but everyone here is here because of cave people. Well, all that's still in our DNA. All that's still, these reward systems can be hijacked, and they can be hijacked by just giving people money. And like, you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to have ambition. You'll just have money and just lay around and do drugs. That's the fear that people have of giving people free money. But if we can figure out how to literally engineer the human biological vehicle and remove all those pitfalls, if we can enlighten people technologically, maybe enlighten is the wrong word, but advance the human species to the point where those are no longer dilemmas, because those are easily solvable through coding. They're easily solvable through enhancing the human biological system, perhaps raising dopamine levels to the point where anger and fear and hate are impossible. They don't exist. And if you just had everyone on Molly, how many wars would there be? There'd be zero wars.
I think if you could get everyone on Earth to hold to Molly once on the same day, that'd be a tremendous thing.
It would be.
If you got everybody on Earth to do Molly every day, that would be a real loss.
But what if they did a low dose of Molly, where you just get to, where everybody greets people with love and affection, and there's no longer concern about competition. Instead, the concern is about the fascination of innovation and creation and creativity.
Man, we could talk the rest of the time about this one topic. It's so interesting. I think if I could push a button to remove all human striving and conflict, I wouldn't do it. First of all, I think that's a very important part of our story of experience. And also, I think we can see both from our own biological history and also from what we know about AI, that very simple goal systems, fitness functions, reward models, whatever you want to call it, lead to incredibly impressive results. If the biological narrative is survive and produce, look how far that has somehow gotten us as a society. All this stuff we have, all this technology is building, whatever else, that got here through